years, the percentage of American children that are considered overweight has more than doubled. There are many factors that are aiding to why this is occurring. Some of those factors would be lack of physical activity, eating habits, and genetic coding. But watching how this condition is impacting our children makes the most impact on why it is so important to be aware of. Children's obesity has effects both on their mental and physical state. Conditions that are occurred, such as high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, and high cholesterol, which are normally considered adult diseases, are now becoming more and more frequent in children. Their developing bodies are taking a massive hit to this rising problem. Not only are they struggling with physical effects, but they're also suffering with emotional. I'd like to illustrate why these changes to their bodies are so scary. Naturally, additional weight to the human body puts pressure on the heart and the chest cavity. With added weight, the heart has to push harder, and the heart has to push harder to have the blood flow through, and the lungs have to push harder in order to breathe. This leads to stroke, high blood pressure, and sleep apnea. Unhealthy eating lifestyles can also cause high cholesterol as well. Most parents are surprised at the gravity of the risk associated with childhood obesity, and that the risks are immediate and not down the road in adults, says Thomas Kimball, MD, a pediatric cardiologist at Cincinnati Children's Hospital and professor of pediatrics at the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine. Kimball goes on to say, "We're seeing changes in their heart structure and heart and artery structures in kids that we normally don't see until well into adulthood. If our children's hearts are undergoing abnormal structures at such young ages, how can we have our children outlive their parents? For the same reason of an unhealthy lifestyle, an abundance of sugar and carbohydrates is being introduced into our children's diets, which is causing pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Adults with diabetes are in constant struggle to maintain their blood sugars. Oftentimes they are testing up to 6 times a day and on several different medications to maintain their blood sugars. The average person will forget to take their medications, and several of them not truly care about what medications they are on. So how can we expect our children to know to check their blood sugars before they eat and how to administer their medication properly? Additional complications that come with some diabetic medications is that they are on a time restraint. For instance, Novolin-R is a type of medication that is supposed to be administered 30 minutes before each meal. A simplistic scenario of how this medication is supposed to work would be a dump truck who's awaiting for its load, in this case sugar, and to carry it off. If the medication is given correctly, as the sugar comes in, it will load into the back of the truck and be carted off. If the medication is not provided 30 minutes before the meal, it would be where the sugar has then loaded down into a mound and then has to be hand shoveled into the back of a truck. For this reason, the stress of putting children on medication becomes another burden that both the children and the adult have to come with. Finally, I'd like to talk about their mental health. Growing up into a teenager and adulthood is hard as it is already hard. The youth look upon their peers for acceptance and comfort. For children that are overweight, they are often shunned and looked down upon by their peers. Not only that, but some children will feel down upon themselves because of their lack of being able to play sports and keep up in school. The self-esteem worth can lead to increased depression and can lead to cutting and suicide attempts. I know that as an adult struggling with depression, there are days, some days are more overwhelming, and if you don't have a strong support team, it can make it 10 times worse. Therefore, I'd like for you to understand that the effects of childhood obesity are real and affecting our children in the here and now. The effects of their bodies are affecting the physical and mental state now as well as in their future. Remember that how your influence on your children and that they learn from the ones around them. A healthy lifestyle is one that is learned and should be enforced with all our children.